All right, we rolling.
Alright.
Okay.
Now, we're recording now. Chapter 5 implements tools and equipment. In this chapter, we will be talking about the tools that you'll be using here in school and when you graduate and get in the barbershop. There's different types of tools that you're gonna be using: combs, razors, shears, clippers, all different types of things. And that's what we'll be talking about in this chapter. And so I'm going to begin on page 105, and we're going to be talking about the implements and tools. So I'm going to begin under LO1 on page 105. As a barber, your principal tools of the trade are combs, brushes, shears, clippers, outliners, and razors. In addition, you will use appliances such as blow dryers and thermal styling tools to perform finishing and styling work on your clients. Choosing the right implement or tool for the job will depend on your understanding of the item's functions and characteristics and how to use it in an effective and safe manner. Identify different types of combs and brushes. Know your comb basics. Combs are made from various materials. This one's not what I was talking about. In different shapes and sizes. A good quality comb is just slightly flexible with smooth rounded teeth that will comb through the hair without snagging individual strands. Most of the combs used in haircutting measure about 7 to 8 inches, which is about this size, long with a shape that may be straight, tapered, or handled. The materials used in the construction of the comb determine its characteristics or qualities. Hard rubber combs are slightly flexible and durable but can deteriorate if left in disinfectant over an extended time. Now, as I said to y'all earlier, you can leave these in the disinfectant. You can leave it overnight, whatever, but yeah, if you leave it in there for a long time, yes, it will deteriorate it, but it has to be in there for weeks. But still, I don't recommend you leave it in there. But you know, you can leave it in there much longer than you leave your guards or all your other tools. Okay. Combs made from carbon materials are anti-static, stiff, and heat and chemical resistant. Graphite combs are less rigid with carbon material combs and are heat and chemical resistant. Metal combs can retain heat and help set in a hairstyle. Made from tempered aluminum or other metals, metal combs may corrode in reaction to chemicals such as hydrogen peroxide. The comb teeth. The spacing between the teeth of a comb varies with the style of comb. Many combs are designed with few or narrow teeth at one end and coarse or wide further apart teeth at the other end. Just like this one here. It's got the teeth here on this end that's, a little bit further apart, and then on this end it's closer. Other comb styles have uniformly spaced teeth for the entire length of the comb. Now, you have different types of combs, like this is just one example. You have the bigger, wide teeth combs with teeth wider than this. And some combs, the best combs have like inch, nobody uses them. They have like inch measures on them. So like, say somebody said they wanted to take 2 inches off of their hair. You could comb their hair up, hold it in your fingers, and then put your comb beside it. And you can see by the inch measure on the comb what length that they're talking about. Now, I'm going to share on my YouTube page a video of a lady that last week when y'all seen my video at me at the state board, Miss Cindy Santa Cruz.
I seen the video.
Yeah.
She had that comb and she did
Because she. What is it?
It's raining.
Jesus Christ. On her video, she was talking about when you go to the state board with your model or your mannequin head.
She used the curly. She said,
Yeah.
She was in the video as a curly head mannequin. It didn't look curly, but
yeah, she straightened it. They straightened it out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I still don't recommend y'all using curly head. I mean, because she made that curly head mannequin work better. But you got to think, her and the other brother, they've got years of experience. As a student graduating barber school, I do not recommend you take a curly head mannequin. But on her video, yeah, she was talking about the inch measure on the comb and using it when you go to the state board test. Okay. The spacing of the teeth is important because the thickness and distribution of the hair strands that flow through the comb can affect your cutting and styling outcomes. For example, combing through a section of hair with the narrow end of the comb merges the hair strands closer together than the wide end of the comb does. Thus, the narrow end allows for better control of the hair and more precise hair cutting. Generally speaking, combination combs give you the ability to adapt to different densities within the hair without switching combs. Narrow teeth combs can be used for combing and cutting fine hair textures or when performing detailed work. Wide tooth combs are preferable for detangling, creating styling effects, or for distributing product through the hair. That's why I like these size combs, because they're more universal than any other comb. You know, if you got a wide tooth comb, it's not gonna comb the hair fine enough. And then if you got a comb that's smaller, like those combs with the pick on it, it's too small. But with this one, you got the wide end and you got these ends, the smaller end. And so you can use pretty much for any style of hair, almost any length, because once you get to a certain length, you're gonna need a pick anyway. So, but this is the best, comb of this nature is the best one. But now there are more durable combs. I don't use this comb. I just bought y'all so y'all can have a cheap barber kit. This is the comb I got. I got like those gray, real heavy combs. It's just like this, but it's just a gray, better plastic material that I use at the shop. But there's nothing wrong with these combs. Okay. Generally speaking, combination combs give you the ability to adapt to different densities within the hair without switching combs. I already read that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay, now comb styles. Given all the different types of combs available, the most appropriate or best comb to use ultimately depends on the procedure to be performed, the client's hair texture, and the barber's personal preference. A styling or all-purpose comb, usually constructed of both narrow and wide-spaced teeth, is used for general hair cutting and styling, like the picture over here to the left. A taper comb can be used for cutting hair in those areas where gradual blending of the hair is required. The taper end is useful when working in tight areas for trimming mustaches or tapered necklines or for blending around the ears. Still, in my opinion, even if you're doing a mustache, you can still use this small end, and even around the ears, these combs are best. A flat handle comb with evenly spaced teeth works best to achieve a flat top style and is also an option to use in clipper over comb cutting. Wide tooth combs can be used to control larger amounts of hair. Spread relaxer cream, detangle hair, or comb through curly hair textures. The comb tail is the best choice for sectioning longer hair or when making partings to create subsections, or wrapping the hair with rods or rollers, or for color applications. A hair pick is an effective choice for combing through textured or tightly curled hair. We will be doing that as well. We will be practicing applying perms, color, all of these things, because like I said, when y'all leave here, y'all gonna be well-rounded. I'm gonna teach y'all things that they don't teach at regular barber schools. So yeah, we will be doing rollers on mannequins. We'll be doing all of that. Now, when you go take a state board, you won't be doing this. But when you do take an instructor's test, if any of y'all ever want to become an instructor, you're gonna have to learn how to do all of that. When you take the instructor's test, they make you part their hair, do a comb, not a comb, but a perm simulation, a color. You have to put the hair on roller rods. You gotta do all of that when you go take the instructor's test, because their motto is, if you're gonna be an instructor, you better know everything. And so that instructor's test is no joke. Okay, holding the comb. The correct manner in which to hold the comb will be dictated by the type of comb used, the service being performed, and the dexterity and comfort of the barber. Through 5-9, show the correct and incorrect holding positions of a styling comb. Be guided by your instructor and practice, practice, practice. Yeah, everybody pretty much knows that you hold the comb like with these two fingers here when you're combing it, and you just, you grab it with the rest of your hands, and you're combing. It's pretty much, your thumb is always by itself on this side, as in the picture. And then the rest of your other 4 fingers on the other side. And that's how you get better grip on the comb. You got control, whether you're combing it to the back, down, or however you're combing. This is the best grip and best way to comb the hair. Know your basic brushes. Styling brushes are used to control smooth, wave, or add fullness to hair or to stimulate the scalp. The choice of bristle texture, spacing, and material will depend on the hair texture, the hairstyle to be achieved, and the barber's personal preference. Most hair brushes are manufactured with plastic, rubber, wood, or metal bases with natural, synthetic, combined, or metal bristles. Hair brushes are available in a variety of shapes and sizes for general purposes. And if y'all don't know, some people like hard brushes, some people like soft brushes. Me, myself, I always get a medium bristle brush because it's right in the middle, you know, and so that way, you know, you got the best of both worlds. It's not too hard, not too soft, it's, you know, it's all purpose. Okay, know about hair cutting shears. Your hair cutting shears are one of the most important tools you will use when performing barbering services. Therefore, your understanding of shears and your ability to select the right type, style, and size that will fit you comfortably is vital to your future success as a barber. Recognize shear styles. There are two basic styles of shears generally used by barbers. The French style with a finger rest or tang for the little finger, and the German style without a tang. Barbers often choose the French style shear because the tang helps to ensure balance and control during cutting. Cast versus forged shears. Professional hair cutting shears are either cast or forged during manufacture. Cast shears are made by heating steel to a liquid form for pouring into a mold. As the metal cools, it expands. This process produces a more porous and weaker steel that does not retain its sharpness, is more brittle, and is likely to chip or break. Because cast shears are less expensive to purchase than forged shears, they are also usually less expensive to purchase. Forged shears are made by working heated metal into a finished shape through the process of hammering or compression. In today's shear manufacturing, the metal is either dropped in a mold to be pounded into the desired shape, or it is hydraulically pressed into a die mold. The heating and cooling processes are repeated until the desired density, hardness, and shape of the implement has been achieved. A forged shear may be constructed in one or two pieces and is more durable, stays sharp longer, and is a higher quality than cast shear. Know the basic parts of hair cutting shears. Hair cutting shears are composed of two blades called the moving blade and the steel blade, and that are fastened with a tension screw or adjustment knob. Other basic parts of the shears include the points, the cutting edges, shanks, bumper, finger grip, thumb grip, and finger rest, also known as the tang. Let's take a closer look at these features and other important information you need to know. Shear blades. The cutting edge is the part of the blade that does the cutting. The grind refers to the inside construction of the blade and the way it is cut in preparation for sharpening and polishing. The flat grind is traditionally associated with beveled shears, while hollow ground blades are typically a feature of convex shears. There are also shear designs with replaceable blades that eliminate the need for sharpening. Blade edges. The cutting edges may be convex, beveled, or semi-convex in design. Okay, now, you see this description right here beside this paragraph of a picture of the shears. So, as the text states, this here is the moving point. This is the moving blade. Up under that is the steel point and the steel blade. And in between that, the part that does the cutting, they're called the cutting edges. And this little screw on the inside is called the pivot screw. And that's what holds it together so it can do that. And then you have the finger brace, which is always on the side where the finger grip, which is always on the side where the finger brace is. And then you have the shank, which is this area here before you reach the finger brace. And then the bottom is called the thumb grip. And like I said, this is called the finger brace. And so the proper way, this is why it is called the thumb grip, because you stick your thumb in here. And you know, a lot of people use this, some people use this finger brace here for balance. Me, myself, I very rarely do. And you know, it always is about what feels comfortable to you. Me, myself, personally, we talked about this when we did the shear cutting on the mannequin head. I like to put my middle finger in the finger grip, and then I leave my this finger here on the shank. And you know, like I said, I very rarely put a finger up here on the finger brace. Now, some of you might feel more comfortable doing that. Some of you might feel more comfortable putting this finger in here or whatever feels most comfortable to you. You know, everything that we teach you, we're teaching you the basics and we're teaching you the proper techniques. But as far as the way you grip it and some of the other things that you do what feels comfortable. Okay, so now, on to the next page. The outside of a convex blade has a clamshell or half moon shape, and the inside is concave or hollow ground. This arrangement produces a smoother and sharper cutting blade that requires more frequent sharpening than beveled edges. A beveled edge means there is an angle on the cutting surface of the blade. Beveled edges can be plain ground with smooth, polished, or razor edge surfaces. Beveled shears usually have one plane or one corrugated blade. The design of the corrugations help to hold the hair in place and to prevent it from sliding on the blade while it is being cut. A beveled edge will stay sharper longer than a convex blade, which tends to require more tension than cutting hair. A semi-convex blade consists of a convex blade that has a bevel ground into the blade edge. This design reduces production costs and extends the time in between sharpening. Set. The set of shears referred to the angle of the blade from its tip to the rod and the alignment of the blades in relation to each other. This alignment is just as important as the grind of the blades because even shears with the finest cutting edges will be inferior cutting tools if the blades are not properly set. Tension also affects the set and alignment of the blades and should be checked frequently. Tension screw or knob is also called the pivot screw. Controls the distance between the blades. Refer to the maintain your shears section later in this chapter to learn how to perform an adjustment. The shank is located between the rod and the base of the finger grip. When the ring finger is positioned properly in the finger grip, the index and middle fingers will rest on the shank. Y'all see what I'm saying? They're saying put the ring finger in there in the book. They're saying do it like this. And again, like I said, I don't do it like that. So I mean, you know, I just prefer to do it this way. I mean, that's just, like I said, to each his own, whatever feels most comfortable to you. Now, the finger tang is where your little finger can rest for greater control of the shears and to relieve pressure on your nerves and tendons. Thumb grip or ring is part of the moving blade of the shears. Your thumb will control the moving blade and should rest no lower than your cuticle within the grip. The bumper is usually positioned on the thumb grip to prevent the grips from touching when the shears are completely closed. And that's what this is. Well, this one don't have no bumper. There's usually a little thing in here, a little knot, and it keeps them. But these, with the way that they're made and the thickness of this steel, it doesn't require a bumper. Size. Shears are available in a variety of lengths and are measured in inches and half inches. Convex shears are measured from the tip to the end of the finger ring where it joins the finger rest. Bevel shears are measured from the tip to the end of the finger rest. Most barbers prefer shears that are 6.5 to 7.5 in length because they facilitate shear over comb cutting better than shorter shears. Handle designs. 3 standard handle designs are the opposing grip, the offset grip, and the crane grip. In the opposing handle design, the finger and thumb grips are positioned directly across from each other. The offset handle design has a shorter thumb shank to reduce overextension and is considered to be more ergonomically correct than the opposing design. The crane handle also has offset grips, but the angle of the finger grip is less in relation to the center of the shears and the thumb grip. This reduces pressure and stress in the hand and thumb. Refer to figures 516, 518 to compare handle designs. Describing texturizing, thinning, and blending shears. Now, all of y'all have thinning shears as well. Those are the shears with the comb teeth. That helps with thinning hair And it's mostly used for for straight hair. Like curly hair or black people's hair, you don't use it. You just don't. You don't use thinning shears. You use those with people with straight hair. I'm not gonna say you can't. It's never done. So y'all might can start something new and start using thinning shears on black people hair. Hey, I always inspire everybody to try something different. I might even try it. I'm gonna try it when I go to the shop today, as a matter of fact. Okay, texturizing, thinning, and blending shears are designed with blades that have teeth. I'm serious, I'm gonna try that. Of varying widths and distances between them. The wider the spacing of the teeth, the more hair is removed during cutting. The greater the number of teeth, the more finely the hair strands can be cut without leaving noticeable cut marks. Although the terms texturizing shears, thinning shears, and blending shears tend to be used interchangeably within the industry, there are some differences in their design. Refer to Table 5.3 in a summary of their differences. Before we go on to the next page, does anybody have any questions about the shears, the positioning of the shears, the parts of the shears?
So, the adjustment on the thinning shears, I play with it, and you know, it plays with the width, how far apart the blades are. So the farther apart the blades, the more hair it takes.
You know, the more it leaves.
The more it leaves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Okay.
What else can the thinning shears be used for?
I use them
Instead of
as a
straight,
blade.
like say, what else can it be used for other than taking the, I don't know how I'm trying to say what I'm saying.
Take the bulk out of the hair?
Yeah, but, you said it's only for straight hair though, so.
I mean, yeah, necessarily, like I said, because the black people usually, the way that black people's hair, the texture of it, it's not really gonna do anything.
Can you do layers with the thinning shear?
On
Can you-
straight hair?
Yeah.
No, that way it won't layer it. The only thing it does is thin it out so it may lay better. But when you're doing layers, you're using these type of shears.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay. Show how to hold the shears and comb. This is what we went over the other day when we were doing the mannequin heads. Holding your tools properly will give you the most control and best results when cutting hair and helps to avoid muscle strain in your hands, arms, neck, and back. Hair cutting shears are designed to be held and manipulated differently than basic household scissors. So the position of your fingers and hand may feel awkward at first. This is to be expected, but a little practice will have you being comfortable with it in no time. During a haircut, you will be holding the comb and shears at the same time throughout the entire cut. Doing this properly requires that you learn how to palm the shears and control and comb safely. Knowing how to palm the shears and comb also help you avoid setting the tool down during a cut, which not only wastes time, but also requires the item to be disinfected before you can use it again. Review the following sections and practice. Holding the shears. The following points indicate the procedure for holding the shears. Insert your ring finger into the finger grip steel blade approximately halfway between the first and second knuckle, and with the little finger resting on the finger brace. Do not allow the finger grip to slide past the second knuckle or you will lose control of the shears. To ensure proper balance, rest the index and second fingers in the shank into the shank of the steel blade. And what it's talking about is that first knuckle. This is what they're talking about with the first knuckle. I'm sorry, the first knuckle right here. You know, the first bend of your finger. And that's what they mean. Because if you got it, man, my hand's too big to even go there. Because you got it down here at the second knuckle, you all out of control. Yeah, I can't even see what I'm saying. I can't even keep it on my hand like that. So yeah, you want to have it on that first knuckle so you can keep control of it. Okay. Simultaneously, insert the tip of your thumb into the thumb grip or moving blade, and no further than your cuticle, which is, of course, if you don't know what a cuticle is, it's the bottom of your fingernail. And that's where you rest the shears at on your thumb. So, do not allow the thumb grip to slide down below the first knuckle. You will lose control of the cutting blade. I don't even know how I can even, well, my thumb is too big for it to even slide down that far. But some people with smaller hands, yeah, I mean, it could go down your thumb some, but you don't want it to go past your cuticle, even if it does start to slide down your thumb. Okay, where was it? Okay, incorrect finger placement is shown in figure 522. If y'all would look here, the one right here, actually in the darkest one at the bottom, that's incorrect finger placement. You won't be able to control it. You won't be able to do anything with those shears. Practice opening and closing the shears using only the thumb to manipulate the moving blade of the shears. To gain more control during the practice, rest the tip of the shears on the first finger of your other hand to steady the steel blade while you open and close the moving blade with your thumb, holding the shears and comb. For safety, shears need to be closed and resting in the palm while you comb the hair. This is called palming the shears. Transferring the comb to the opposite hand after combing to facilitate hair cutting is called palming the comb. To palm the shears, lift your thumb out of the thumb grip and simply pivot the shears into the palm of your hand, which is like this. Transferring and palming the comb. Once the shears have been palmed, hold the comb between the thumb and the first two fingers of the same hand to comb through the hair, as such. After the hair section has been combed, transfer the comb into the palm of the opposite hand between the thumb and the base of the index finger. This procedure allows the first two fingers of the hand to be free to control their hair when the shears hand is free to cut the hair section. Now, if y'all remember correctly, when we did this on the mannequin head, when we were combing through and we combed the hair up to be cut, you know, you were holding the hand here, holding the hair here, and then you put the thumb, like it said, put your comb, like it says in the book, in between your thumb and your index finger, and you close it, and you take the shears, and you're holding the hair, and you cut the hair that you're holding. That's the way that is done. That's the explanation that the book is giving about the cutting process. Okay, so right-handed versus left-handed shears. Yes, and there are different shears. There are right-handed shears and there are left-handed shears. But most of us here are right-handed. We do have two left-handed people, but Saya and Jeff both said that they can't cut with these shears. But yes, there are different shears. There's a difference between right-handed and left-handed shears. Not only are the blade design different, but the assembly of left-handed shears is reversed during manufacturing. Simply switching hands or turning right-handed shears over does not make a functional tool for left-handed barbers. Maintaining your shears. It is important to maintain your shears on a regular basis to keep them in good working order. Use the following as a guide to protect the investment you have made in your shears. The shears that I have at my shop that I use currently right now, I bought those shears when I was in barber school 27 years ago.
Wow.
That's how long they've lasted. And they still can cut like a Ginsu. But of course, now I will admit those were some expensive shears. I paid like $200 and something for those shears.
Worth it.
Yes, they've been worth it. Yes. They are, like I said, they're still in good shape. They still look good. They're not rusty, beat up, anything. And of course, like I said, what we have here at this school these are quality shears, but I do recommend, once you get out of here, invest in I'm not saying spend $200, but they got shears that are $60, $70 that are really good. I do recommend that you invest in a good pair of shears. That's if you plan on cutting straight. No, it doesn't matter. Even with curly or coarse hair, you still gonna need some shears. But I've had my shears for 27 years and they still cut. I can lay a piece of paper on them to cut right through.
Have you sharpened them?
Yes, I get them sharpened. I get them sharpened about every 2 to 3 months. I have a guy that comes by and sharpens our tools for us. And he sharpens my shears about every 2 to 3 months.
Cool.
Because I like to keep them sharp.
That was gonna be my question too. Have you had them sharpened? Since you
Yeah,
had them so
yeah.
long?
Yeah. That's the only way you can keep them, in good working condition. You sharpen and you oil your shears, just like you oil clippers. You put a little oil on the blade here, on the inside, and a little bit in here close to where the pivot screw is. Yes, you do oil them as well.
So what about, cause I've been spraying mine.
I mean, you can spray them, because the Cool Care and the Clipper side, they both are disinfectants, but there are lubricants as well. Now, they don't lubricate as well as Clipper oil or regular oil, but they do lubricate. So yeah, it's no problem
I just wanna
spraying.
make sure, cause I know, I read that somewhere or somebody told me that.
Yeah.
They sprayed it.
And that's why I say I recommend that you spray them because, like I said, you cannot put them in the disinfectant. So the only other way to you could disinfect them with some other cleaning utensils, but your spray is the best and easiest way to disinfect your shears. And so yeah, just spray them with your Cool Care or Clipper side and wipe them off real good, and yeah, because it acts as a lubricant as well as disinfectant. Okay, where was I?
Right-handed versus left-handed shears.
Okay, I was on the next page, what? Okay.
Yeah.
Clean and disinfect the blades after each use according to state board regulations and manufacturer's directions. Adjust the tension screw daily or as needed to maintain proper functioning using the following steps. Hold the shears horizontally by the thumb grip between the thumb and index finger to the left hand with the tension screw facing you. Raise the finger grip to an open position with the thumb and index finger of the right hand. Release the steel blade. The blade should drop 25 to 35% of the way closed before stopping. Depending on the quality and style of your shears, if the blade does not drop at all, the tension is too tight and you will feel resistance while opening or closing them. If the blade closes completely, they are too loose and you will end up bending the hair over the blades rather than cutting it. To adjust a slotted tension screw, close the shears and place the blades flat on a hard surface. Hold the shears securely and use the appropriate size screwdriver to turn the screw in gradual increments, checking the tension after each adjustment. To adjust a knob tension screw, turn the knob to the right one increment at a time and recheck the tension after each adjustment. Do's and don'ts for handling your shears. Avoid dropping shears. Even one drop on a hard surface can ruin the set or damage the blades. Protect shears in a sheath or holder during transport. Never cut anything but human hair with hair cutting shears. Trust me, you do not want to be opening Amazon packages and stuff like that with your shears. You don't. It dulls you. Use a less expensive shear or on mannequin hair and save your finest tools for client services. Never force shear blades through a section of hair. If there is resistance, section off a thinner parting for cutting. Avoid prolonged immersion of shears in corrosive chemicals, including permanent waving solution, oxidizers, and certain disinfectants. Gently place shears into disinfectant containers to avoid damaging the tips. Knowing about clippers and outliners. Okay, clippers and outliners are two of the most important tools used in barbering. Clippers can be used for a variety of cutting techniques, from blending to texturizing. Outliners, also known as trimmers or edgers, are essential tools for finish and detail work. Today's barber has a vast array of clipper styles from which to choose. Function, style, weight, contour, power, and single speed or two-speed options are just some of the factors that should be considered when purchasing a clipper. The two main types of clippers are detachable blade clippers and adjustable blade clippers. Detachable blade clippers utilize removable blades in a variety of sizes to achieve different hair lengths. Blade changes are easily accomplished by removing and attaching blades while the clipper is running. Attachable blade clippers have attachable blades that are affixed to the unit with screws. The blades are open or closed by the adjustment lever on the side of the unit. Clipper guards fit over the blades to extend the length of the hair beyond that left with the blades fully opened, which is about 1/8 inches depending on the manufacturer. Check outline or with your local supplier for the latest clipper models and styles. Okay, know the parts of the clipper. The visible parts of a clipper vary depending on whether the unit is detachable blade clipper or an adjustable blade clipper, or whether it is corded or rechargeable. Some detachable clipper models have separate oil reservoirs, a carbon brush cover screws, and carbon brush cover screws that are accessible at the side of the unit, and others do not. At the minimum, the visible parts of a detachable clipper are the detachable steel and moving blade assembly, on and off switch, hanger hoop, and conducting cord. The visible parts of a typical adjustable blade clipper are the cutting blade, steel blade, heel, on-off switch, blade adjustment lever, set or power screw, hanger, loop, and the conducting cord. Electric clippers are driven by one or three basic motor types: rotary, pivot, or magnetic. Refer to figures 528, 530, and table 54 to compare the features of different types of motors. Okay, now, let me discuss this part. So, with the clippers, as I'm gonna go up to the first on figure 527 at the top. This here is the steel blade, which is the top blade of the clipper. The cutting blade is the smaller blade of the clipper, the second blade here. The heel is the back part right here. The blade adjustment lever is, of course, this lever here that we move the blade with on the side. The on and off switch, which is this one on the side. And a lot of clippers, this one doesn't have one, but some clippers have a screw here on the side where you can turn it and it will adjust your blade and the motor in your blade for it to cut at a certain way or cut at a certain level. And some clippers have it, some clippers don't.
Okay, that's the first time I heard that.
What?
I knew it like that screw on the side, like I knew it like adjust the motor or whatever, but how does it move the blade though? Like,
What it does is it affects how your blade cuts. That's what I meant to say. Like say if your blade is cutting too fast, you can turn that screw and it'll slow it down. Or you can turn it the other way and it'll speed it up. And it affects that part of the motor that makes that blade move.
But I've got some that's got the screw on the side, and it like gets louder.
Yeah. Sometimes it gets louder.
I thought it was like for like just I thought it was an idle screw or something.
No.
It's tension.
It's tension on the blade. Yeah, because like I said, you can make your blade move faster or slower. And then when you turn it towards a slower, or if it gets to a certain point, it goes, it gets loud.
Yeah.
But then you can turn it and then it calms it back down. Yeah, that's what that screw is for.
Oh, okay.
Now, and like I said, this is this clipper up here. These are the Andes Masters clippers. I was just telling you, these right here are clippers that stand the test of time. This used to be the only clipper before wireless. That was the only clipper barber. You wasn't a barber if you didn't have a pair of Andes Masters. When I first started cutting hair, if you didn't have a pair of them, nobody respected you. And still to this day, they are the most powerful clipper that you can have other than a rotary clipper. You can't beat a pair of Andes Masters. They last forever.
Don't we got some of them? Didn't we get them in the kit?
No, y'all have Speed Masters.
Speed Masters.
I'm sorry, Indies. Y'all have Speed Masters and Indies.
Yeah. Oh.
But yeah, the Andes Masters, there's these silver ones right here at the top of the page. And up under that is a detachable blade clipper. Now I have a pair of clippers that look just like this. They're called the BGRs. Now the detachable blade clippers, the whole entire blade comes off. You pull it off and say and how we have our guards, like we have a 1 guard, 0 guard, you have just metal blades. And you snap it off and you put another blade on it. And you don't have any guards or anything on those because the blade is set at different lengths. So whatever length you want, you just snap it on the clipper. Those are what detachable blade clippers are. Now pivot motor clippers, which aren't as strong, but they are just as good. These look exactly like the ones y'all have. These are the Speedmaster clippers. And now pivot motor clippers aren't as strong as magnetic clippers because this one at the top, the Andes Master clippers, And the envies that you have, the burgundy ones, those are called magnetic clippers. And they're the strongest clippers versus a pivot motors clipper.
So you said it was the Envy and what?
The Andis Envy is a magnetic motor clipper. And the Speedmaster one, which is, okay, figure 529 in the book. That's the Speedmasters that you have. Those are pivot motor clippers. And your Burgundy Andis Envy clippers are like figure 530. They are magnetic motor clippers.
So what is the Master?
It is a magnetic blade clipper. I mean, it's not magnetic motor clipper.
So what clipper would have a rotary motor?
Those Speedmasters that you have, the ones that look like, because you got the same ones, like in figure 529, right here at the bottom of the page.
Yeah.
No, he said rotary. He said rotary.
Rotary, yeah.
Oh, you said rotary. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He said
These like these ones in 528, the detachable blade ones,
Oh,
528.
Okay.
Like them, bevel, they detach.
Yeah, they're detachable. Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
a rotary clipper.
yeah. But yeah, that's like I said, those detachable ones. Those are the rotary clippers. Now those blades are just as strong, if not maybe a hair stronger. But now, like those old school Oster 76ers, those are stronger than a magnetic clipper. Now, like some of these newer rotary clippers, no, they're not, because they're being made cheap. They don't make them like the old school days. I got a pair of those Oster 76ers, man. They'll cut grass or tree bark. And I've had those for probably about 27 years. I got them when I was in barber school, and I still got them. But they got some now. The ones they make now, they're made just like everything else. They're made cheap, and they're not as strong. So I would say nowadays, you can't get a stronger clipper than a magnetic blade clipper. Okay, going over to the next page, outliners. Let me see something right here. Okay, yeah, we're gonna finish this, and before we get to razors, we're gonna stop. Okay, outliners. An outliner uses a magnetic or pivot motor. Outliners have very fine cutting blades that require very little pressure against the skin to be effective cutting tools. Using too much pressure can cause skin irritations, abrasions, and even ingrown hairs. So use a light hand and let the tool do the work. The cutting blade is usually available in two styles, a straight trimmer blade and a T-shaped blade. The versatility and utility of a T-blade when trimming rounded or difficult areas makes it the first choice of many barbers and stylists. Outliners are essential tools for detailed precision design and fine finish work on haircuts and facial hair trims, including the eyebrows. Cordless trimmers and outliners. A number of manufacturers have produced clippers and outliners that do not have a conducting cord attached directly to the unit. Instead, these tools are designed to rest on a charging unit when not in use. Cordless clippers are an important innovation for barbers because they are easily maneuverable and portable. However, they may not have the same power as corded models, and that's why I do not like cordless clippers, because they don't have the same power. There's only one that I found that has great power, and again, it's the Andis Masters. They have a cordless version, and that one that's the most power I've seen of any cordless clipper I've ever used. I've used so many different kinds of cordless trimmers, clippers, but they are junk. I don't care, all of them. But those Andis Masters, nothing cuts like them. But, however, you're gonna pay, I got mine on a deal at $225. Normally you're gonna pay about $250. But if you like cordless clippers, they're worth it. Those Andis trimmers, they're junk. The Babyless, whatever they wanna call them, those are the most beautiful clippers I ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
But
they look sexy.
But they're junk. Yes, they are sexy. They're the Lamborghinis.
I'll be looking at
But
them like,
they
"Ooh,
are
we
junk.
real."
Yes, I wouldn't dare buy a pair of clippers. And they're $200. I wouldn't dare. The trimmers, the Babyless, whatever they want to call them,
Babyless.
trimmers, they're decent. They're decent. But they're not better than the Andis Slimline Pro LIs that you can buy for $60. So, to each his own. Everybody likes their own kind of clippers. Some people cut better with different clippers. I just speak for me personally in my experience. Okay, now.
What was that, the Slimline what?
Slimline Pro LI. That's a little, it's a wireless little handheld clipper.
That black person?
Yeah, and they're small, but they cut good. Them suckers, they cut. Yeah. Like I said, if you come to my place, if I buy a pair of cordless trimmers, they really right. Or any kind of cordless clippers. If I buy them, they right. Cause I hate cordless clippers. I refuse to buy them. But I got to try those two out. And once I did, yes, they was hitting. I was like, okay, I will invest in these.
And Slimline Pros?
Slimline Pros and the Ennis Masters. Those are the only two cordless clippers I have at my station.
Cause I'm getting my birthday gifts together. I told the other day I don't want nothing but clippers. Christmas, Valentine's Day, that's what I want.
I think both of those are deep tooth clippers though.
They what? Deep tooth?
Yeah. Okay, so clipper blades and guards. Clipper blades are usually made of high quality carbon steel or ceramic and are available in a variety of styles and sizes. Some styles are designed for use with detachable blade clippers, such as replacement blades for specific adjustable blade clipper models. And if you look to the right here, these are what detachable blades look like for those type of clippers. And you got all these different sizes. You know, you got the 1, the 2, 1.5. I mean, all these different sizes, they cut a different length. And so that's what you would put on detachable blade clippers.
Are they just like thrown in here, or is it in like, what kind of order is it in?
No, this is not a particular order.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I was sitting there looking there.
Yeah,
this is not a particular order. They just have them thrown in here. Yeah. But yeah, that's just an example of how many different types of blades there are for detachable clippers. Cause you got like a 5/0 is the lowest. They got a 5/0 on here. And then you got a 3/0, you got 4. I mean, you got all these different ones. But these aren't in any type of order. Okay. So following the consideration to keep in mind about clipper blades and guards. Detachable blade sizes can differ from one manufacturer to another and may not always indicate the same cutting length, so be careful when purchasing these items. Visit manufacturers' websites for photos and size charts. A detachable 5/0 blade produces the closest cut. That's what I was just saying. Most adjustable blade clippers have a high blade length and range from a 000 in the closed position to a 1 in the open position. Follow the manufacturer's recommendations for the style and size of clipper blades that are appropriate for their clipper models. Manufacturers are constantly improving their clipper blades to permit faster and more precise haircutting. So be on the lookout for the newest in haircutting tools. Clipper guards, also known as attachment combs, are made of plastic. Those red guards that y'all have. Where was I at? I lost my place that fast. Hard rubber or steel in both detachable blade and adjustable blade clippers. The purpose of a clipper guard is to allow the hair to be left longer than what might be achieved by using clipper blades alone against the scalp surface. Although clipper guards can help to ensure uniformity within the cut, they may also require more passes over a section because they cannot grip the hair the way steel blades do. And that's why I tell you all the time, sometimes you gotta go back with the 2 teeth sometimes to clean up certain areas. That's the reason why, because when you have those guards on there, of course, it's not just a natural cut as if you just got just the blades. So that's why that occurs. Lost my place again. Where was I?
This can result in loss.
Okay, yeah, this can result in lost tension and slippage. Damn, you know. That may, I said it on tape. This can result in lost tension and slippage that may cause steps or gaps in the hair, requiring repeated passes with the clipper. Remember, guards do not do the actual cutting and should not be confused with the clipper blades. They are simply supplemental implements you may choose to use in haircutting services. Show how to hold clippers and trimmers. Yes, I'm gonna do this and then we're gonna finish up. The technique used by barbers to hold the clipper is most often determined by the section of the head they are working on. For example, Cutting the back section will necessitate holding the clippers differently than when cutting the top section. A general rule to follow is to hold the clippers in a manner that permits free wrist movement while providing the best access to the area being cut. 4 holding positions are explained as follows, but be guided by your instructors for alternative methods. Place the thumb over the top of the clipper with the finger supporting it at the underside, figure 535, and this is when you're fading. You know, you have your thumb here, and the rest of your hand is holding the back of the clippers. That gives you the better position to have that type of cut when you're doing fading. Okay, the position is usually comfortable, like I said, is usually comfortable for tapering in the nape or side areas of the haircut when the clipper is switched to the left hand while cutting hair sections from a different direction. The alternative method is to place the thumb on the left side of the unit at the switch and the fingers on the right side with the blades pointing up, figure 536, which is like this. Now, I don't recommend doing it like this, but if it feels more comfortable doing it like this with the thumb on the side near the power button and your other fingers on the side, if that feels more comfortable to you cutting like that, then fine, so be it. But I recommend that you have your thumb on the top and have your fingers at the bottom. You get faster, you see how more, well, to me, my wrist moves much more freely when I'm holding the clippers like this versus if I got my thumb on the side. It's a little bit harder to move these clippers.
And that's what I was gonna say, because it seems like that putting it with your thumb on the side would be harder on your wrist.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's harder on your wrist, and because it causes it takes more effort to do it. And this is much less effort. It's much more effortless. Yes. Okay. And so, depending on the style and weight of the clippers, you may find this position limits the range of your wrist action. Figures 537 and 538 show alternative underhand positions that may be used when working haircut sections from a side view and back view position. Now, also, like when you're doing when you're shaping the top of the hair, that is what is figure 537. You see how he has his 2 fingers here and his thumb right here? Thumb right here and thumb right here. Like if you're cutting, if you're just trimming, like say you're doing the side of his hair and you're just trimming the wild hairs. That's the way you're trimming those wild hairs. Or if you're doing the top, say my hand is the head, and if you're doing the top, that's how you're trimming the wild hairs. Just like that. Or even if you got a guard on here. If you got a guard and you're cutting a fade, not a fade, but you're cutting the top down low, you're still holding that clipper just like that with your thumb on the top. Just like on the side, I meant like figure 537, because that's just the proper way to do it when you're cutting that particular way. And now in figure 538, now this is with your thumb at the front of the clipper and your 2 fingers at the back right here, and then 2 fingers right here. Now, like I said, I do it a little bit more like this, but again, you do what's comfortable to you. That could be when you're styling somebody's hair too as well. Because like I said, there are different, this is another alternative grip. When you're doing either cutting it down or just freehanding. I mostly use this one freehanding, but even though I do use that position when I'm cutting it with a guard as well. So, we're gonna stop right there before we get on the razors. So are there any questions?
Go ahead.
Oh, I just had a question about the replaceable, the detachable blades.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have to be unscrewed and screwed in every single time they're replaced, or do they detach easily? Because I noticed the screws right here.
No. They detach easily. Those screws that's just how they're put together.
Okay.